Hi. Oh, you okay? I hope so. Hi. I'm about to go run some errands. Thought I'd stop and check in, let you know what I'm up to. I am working on some puzzle designs. The design itself is pretty easy and straightforward. I'm just using artwork that I've already done. I'm using 2 landscape paintings and then the Carolina Wren that I just finished. And I haven't even released that on my website yet. So maybe I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but I wanted to show you the box designs that I have so far. I need to get some information from the company about if I'm allowed to put any sort of design work on the bottom of the box, because I'd like to put some like more boring information on the bottom, like copyright and a QR code to my website. Not necessarily stuff that I would like to have on the top of the box, but we'll just see what the company says. So this is one, and you can see the sides they'll like fold over, so those will be the sides. And then another one. And then here's the third one. I went with this one because it is by far, hands down, my most popular print as far as landscapes go, and I wanted to have one landscape that kind of appeals to lots of folks, not just people who live in this area, but folks who maybe don't live in this area, as well as the Carolina Wrens. I just am really proud of that one, and I think that it's really pretty and that it'll look nice as a puzzle. The first landscape that I showed you with the bridge in it, that one was actually a request by a local shop who carries that print as well as some others wholesale. So I sell them wholesale to them, and then they sell them retail to their customers. And they requested that I make a puzzle out of that print. So that one is a really beautiful painting that I also feel really proud of, but it is a little bit more specific to this area. That bridge is an iconic bridge in the Greenville area. So I don't know that that is going to appeal to folks who don't live around here and who don't feel like they have a connection to that bridge. So I wanted to have some for them. Obviously, they've ordered a certain amount that they want. I'd like to have some to be able to sell at markets, the more local markets. But then I also wanted to have a landscape and like a plant animal option for folks who may not live around here. So, but this is the one that's a little bit more general. So pretty stoked. I really like the edges. I decided to go with, at first I did like a whole bunch of writing on all 4 of the edges. I did like, you know, the information and the name and it's by me and whatever. And then I was like, I don't feel like I need writing on all surfaces of this box. I think I can make it a little more simple. I also had the image on all of the sides, and I felt like that was a little much too, so I pared it down a whole lot, and I added my, I guess, like, I'm gonna call them embellishments, the just little design elements that I like to do on the sides of my paintings. If I'm not gonna put it in a frame, I like to paint the sides of my pieces. So pretty stoked about that. The puzzles are going to be 550 piece, which I'm a little bit disappointed about. I really like a 1,000 piece puzzle, but the 1,000 piece puzzles that they had available were wicked expensive. So it was a little bit prohibitive. I just don't feel like I would want to pay that much for a puzzle if you're breaking it down, you know, like this is how much it is wholesale, so this is how much I have to sell it retail. Buying something like that retail, I don't think I would want to pay that much, so I had to go with a less expensive option, which is a 550 piece puzzle. Is like the next amount that I could get, and it turns out to be this big. It's huge, massive. It's 15 inches by 24 inches, and I have worked on large puzzles before, 1,000 piece, etc. I don't remember 1,000 piece puzzles being this big. much less 550 piece. So that's really curious. I'm so curious how they're gonna arrive and like what they're gonna look like. I know that the box is 8 by 10, so that's a pretty small box for a 550 piece puzzle that ends up being 15 by 24. But we'll see. I don't know. I'm pretty excited to work with this company. They've got some really awesome reviews. They're up in Portland, Oregon, and they seem like a fairly small company, and they've just been really great to work with. So I reached out to like 3 or 4 different puzzle companies, and this by far has been like the smoothest working relationship so far as manufacturer goes. So that's cool. So I'm working on that. And then I also got these in. I did open it before. This is not a brand new unboxing, but let's just take them out. So I designed some envelopes for Patreon, specifically for Patreon, but I'll probably use them for other things too. Why is this double wrapped in plastic? That's kind of weird. Extra protection, I guess. I went with a green color, which is classic. Love it. And I went with a pretty basic design. I admittedly am not good at graphic design. I'm really not good at it. It feels very uncomfortable to me. I never feel like I know what I'm doing. And it takes me a long time. These puzzles, I've been working on them for days, many days. Getting the files themselves ready for the puzzle itself and the files ready for the cover of the box of the image, like the actual artwork, piece of cake, no problem. I can do that all day long. But design, like words and deciding whether I want to handwrite the words or use a font, I'm just not good at graphic design. I'm just not good at it. I can fight my way through it, but it's not my strong point. So for the envelopes, I decided to go with something very simple. I did want to put "Please Don't Bend" on the envelope. Not that that really matters, and I've never had an issue with things getting like super horribly crumpled up in the mail. I mean, like things can get damaged, but for the most part, it's been pretty okay. Mail carriers aren't out here like purposefully bending things, like come on. But I wanted to put something cute that asked kindly to not bend. I didn't put anything on the back. I left it blank, honestly, because I just couldn't think of what to put on there. And I was also feeling a little bit rushed. I just wanted to get them in my hands. I wanted them to be ready. I wanted to have at least a small stack ready to go. I don't actually have anybody signed up for my tier where I send people stuff yet, but I'm gonna try and post some more about it in the next couple of days. Give some people time to sign up and to actually see the physical product. That's actually what I'm getting ready to do now, is go pick up that print order of postcards and bookmarks. So pretty excited about them. I finished the design for my tote bags. And then this is it, like a mock-up on the bag. Pretty stoked about these as well. I'm a little bit nervous to order them. Like, I've gotten the sample, I see the bags themselves, but something about placing this like massive order of something that I haven't received yet, or something that I don't have, like I don't have a sample with my design on it. So I just feel a little bit nervous, and it's probably for nothing. They're probably gonna look great, and I'm probably gonna be pretty stoked about them. But yeah, that's what I'm working on. I also want to do a calendar this year. I've been asked for calendars before, so I think this is the year to do that. So when I go to pick up my postcards and bookmarks, I'm going to ask them about making a calendar. So stay tuned for that. I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Yeah, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about all of these things that I've just shown you. thoughts, feelings. I really love reading those comments. It's curious to see like what people who are watching this think of what's happening behind the scenes. So anyways, that's all for now. Bye. Hi, this is completely unrelated to art or an art career. I recently picked up the hobby of making soap, and it was so cool and so much fun. It was really intimidating to make soap. It's kind of a pretty intense process, and really like sciencey and nerdy, and I loved it. So yeah, I popped this footage in here because so much of my month really has been just staring at a computer screen or an iPad screen, design work and behind the scenes admin type of work. There hasn't been a ton of art making or a ton of stuff that's like really fun to show you guys. So since the video itself was feeling kind of thin, I thought I would add this just because how cool is this? I'm cutting up bars of soap that I made. So, yep, that's all really. Now back to our regularly scheduled programming. All right, y'all, I did something, and of course I wanted to share it with you. So let me see if I can show you examples. Okay, so this is what happened. This is the original of that Carolina Wren painting. And I'm not sure if you can see it in the video. Let's see if I can get it closer. The background color has this faint pink glow about it because there's pink underneath the creamy color. In person, at least, the pink comes through quite a lot. It still is very much a creamy color, but that pink definitely shines through, which is really nice. And I was really hoping that that would come through in the prints. But sometimes what's happening in the original doesn't always translate into a print. There's certain colors that the printer has a hard time picking up. So this is what we ended up print-wise. You can see a tiny little bit of it in certain areas, but it's very subtle. And the pink is not like a bright, fun pink. It's almost like a muted, subtle, subdued kind of pink, if you will. Almost like a blush color or something. Or it's very different. Like you can see the original, like this is the original and this is the print. How different those two are. It's weird with my face in between here. So you can see the difference. And I just decided that I didn't like it because when I look at this, all I see is just a whole bunch of yellow and then a couple of birds, which annoys me. I wanted the yellow jasmine to stand out more, and I wanted the birds to stand out more. And I think even though you may have seen videos where I was like painstaking over this color choice for the background, and I felt really good about the color choices that I had made for the original, and the original looks awesome in person, but in the print form, I just was really unsatisfied with it. I made a few prints. They like started coming out onto my big printer, like big printer paper, and I was like, oh no. All I see is a whole bunch of like pale, creamy yellow, and I like a pale, creamy yellow, but not if that's all I'm seeing. So it's kind of funny, I had somebody comment on one of my videos that they actually preferred the pink background as opposed to like the bright neon pink background as opposed to either of the other color choices. And at the time I was like, yeah, it was a really hard decision, but I went with what I went with, kind of did a combo of the two of them. And then I made these prints and I was like, you're right, I should have done that one. I just should have. So I did. We made this one. And what I did was I put the image, like big, huge file, into Procreate as a 16 by 20 because that's as big as I want to go with this piece. I did an extra layer and I used, I think it was a watercolor style brush, or it may have been a gouache style. I used the Gouache Max, the Retro Max pack quite a lot. And then I have another, like a watercolor Max pack type of thing, and just did a whole big brushy bit of pink over the top of this. And then I went through and I erased all of the detail. That way it would put the pink in the background. And my lord, that took quite a while. It was a couple of days worth of work to get all those little details erased and everything, and I'm so happy with it. Then I lowered the opacity. I think this was 88%, so it's still pretty strong. But I'm feeling good about it. I like this a whole lot better. The birds and the plants really pop, which is nice. I don't think the pink is too overwhelming, which is what I was worried about with the neon pink. It's not like too much, but it's also not too like much of a soft pale pink like it belongs in a nursery or something like that. I do tend to like those types of colors, and then I look at my piece as a whole and I'm like, yeah, that looks like it belongs in a nursery, and like, that's fine, but it's maybe not what I was going for. And that's definitely not what I was going for with this. Like, you could put this in a nursery, but you could also put it in any other room in your home and it would look great. It doesn't look like it is intended to be in a nursery. So I'm really happy with that. And I just wanted to show you. Big difference between these two. Yellow, all yellow, and then pink with some contrast. Super fun. Yep, all right. That's it for now.